Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnick here from Eyes on Cricket. I better change my hats because I've got so many hats on my chains. There we go. So I was just hosting another show there, so we're here now online. Mooks has made comments about how people during the playoff. Clearly, today was a match, the 23rd match of a 60-match series between the various 8 franchises. And I would argue this game was a pretty low point for SRH. Sunrisers Hyderabad have lost yet another game. On the other hand, Chennai Super Kings have won 5 in a row. So this is quite an amazing situation with the team on the top of the table and the team at the bottom of the table. On a pitch in Delhi that certainly looks a little bit more batter-friendly, but it was the first game on it. We'll have another game tomorrow in the doubleheader. We've got a doubleheader tomorrow between 4 great sides. We've got Mumbai Indians playing Rajasthan Royals in the so-called afternoon or day game, followed by Delhi Capitals and KKR in the normal evening slotted match. So that will be the 2 teams that will be 2 sets of teams playing tomorrow, which is effectively, you could argue today, because of the time differences. It's not that far away before those games play. Today's match between CSK and SRH was certainly not an exciting match. Both teams only lost 3 wickets, so the bowlers were not effective at all. Rashid Khan took 3 wickets, more so towards the end of his 4-over spell. But I do think that the way that CSK played today, they've proven to be a top 3 side. They've virtually cemented their spot in the top 3. I can't see them not. Chris Vernon's not going to be here today. He's otherwise detained. I'm actually considering, guys, that this may well be the last show, at least for the next few weeks, in this time slot. We may move it to the morning after, which will be 8:30 a.m. IST as an Indian time, and it would be around the, I think it's 1 o'clock p.m. my time. I can be at a better location, be on the beach. We'll get more guests, which are Australian-centric. We might be able to get the likes of Adam Holyoke, Alan Mullally, and people of that nature because it'll be Australian time. English players-wise, we might not be able. English supporters may not be able to get them, but we'll certainly get a different brand of person available at that time as well. So I've noticed that people are wanting that. But I want you to comment in the comment box whether you like this time slot. I know you would like earlier, but that's not going to happen earlier. But this is the time slot for our post-review. I like the time. Yes, I know, Victor Ashwar, it's 12:20 your time now. I appreciate that. But it's actually a time when there are viewers that may not be able to catch the match. I'm happy to let it sink in. But at this point, I may not continue this time slot, but I will continue a time slot that a lot of other people are liking, which is around that morning after. Because this game finishes very late. Often people have gone to bed and they like to get the full digested results the day after or the morning after. So we may consider that. I want your opinion, guys. So the Delhi, Chetan Mehra said the Delhi pitch is better than the Chennai. No doubt. The Delhi pitch is far superior. In fact, Chennai's wicket's probably been overused this entire season and is showing the effects. I hope Ahmedabad doesn't go the same way because Ahmedabad's going to be used quite extensively towards the back end of this tournament, especially with the playoffs. And it's intriguing. The competition, the way it's pans out at the moment, you have, obviously, after a match like SRH and CSK today, you have a top. We'll go through the actual competition ladder. CSK and RCB are equal first on 10 points, having lost only the 1 match. In fact, CSK have gone through 5 in a row with a net run rate of 1.475. And RCB, also on 10 points, has got a net run rate of 0.089. Very distinctly different and very alarming, you would argue. The CSK have actually clearly got their net run rate sorted, so they're in a good position. Then you have a small gap to Delhi Capitals on 8 points, who are playing tomorrow. And Mumbai Indians are currently on 4. They've got a game in hand against Rajasthan Royals, which they're playing tomorrow. I'll tell you what, if they win that, that's the end of Rajasthan Royals as well. At this point, I cannot see SRH at this point getting back. There's some 8 points difference to the top sides. It's a fairly sizable amount of wins they need to have. In fact, SRH will probably have to win all their matches from now on, pretty much to have a chance. It's getting that way. So we'll see how we go in terms of that. Strategically, CSK have got their act together. I always maintain the thoughts that you need to have your top three batters bat well. And today proved that with Gaikwad and the likes of du Plessis once again batting very well, and Moeen Ali chipping in there towards the end as well. So those three teams, three players are certainly performing well. In the SRH side, Warner and Pandey got scores, but the strikeways weren't fantastic, and they were not supported by many other people in terms of their batting. So, in fact, that's one of the issues you have there. Hello, we're joined by Pretty Upala. How are you?
Namaste, Norman. Namaste, everyone.
What time is it there in America at the moment?
It's 11:52
a.m. Well, I can assure you it's not 11:52 a.m. where I am. It's more like 4:54 a.m., which is not much fun. All right. Debashes has got a severe headache. Chris is also not well. We've got a few illnesses in the group. David Graven is coming tomorrow. We've got a lot of people coming on the shows. Keshu, who you haven't met yet, who's a musician from Mumbai, who's also has his own program. He's joining as well. So, in fact, I think I may have mentioned his name, and here he is. I just mentioned his name, so oops. There we are. Good timing, Keshu. I just mentioned your name. And you're on mute.
Oops, I'm sorry. So thank you for inviting me once again. And there's a saying in India in Hindi which roughly translates to, if you are talking about somebody and they suddenly appear, then that means they will live a long life.
Well, your timing was impeccable because I just mentioned your name just then. And I had no idea that you were coming at that moment. So there you go. Yeah, so Debashes would have been here. He has the most monumental headache. He actually started the broadcast with extra time, which I do a show for. And we were talking for about 10 minutes before we realised that we weren't on air. So, because Debashes had pressed the wrong button or something. Anyway, let's talk about today's match. I think I'm about to put the last nail in the coffin of Sunrise Hyderabad. I'm afraid, despite the fact that they batted reasonably, their bowling was atrocious. They had the best bowler in the tournament, Rashid Khan, with 3 wickets, and they still couldn't win. Rashid Khan is probably thinking he's in the wrong team at the moment. They are going atrociously. Yet again, Warner talked pre-game about, the selectors have done this, the selectors have done that. His attitude is abysmal. He shouldn't be knocking people. Even though he got 57 runs today, he batted okay. His strike rate was just over 100, which in this format is not good enough. Look, he's still a great player. We know that. But SRH will find it insurmountable to get back into the top 4 or even win a game, perhaps. We're not sure. CSK have all but cemented their spot in the top 4 with this win. Obviously, RCB and Delhi are also in that mix. Keshu, in your opinion, and you're somebody who has been on this for a while now, are we seeing a firming of the top 4 now, or at least the top 3?
I would say top 3, yes, not top 4, because historically we have seen in IPL that it's usually the fight for the 4th spot, which goes until the last weekend. So CSK seems to be a surety right now in the top 2 at least, if not top 4. But other than CSK, I think MI and RCB are other 2 contenders, which I can really see going the distance. But yeah, I mean, yesterday I also predicted that KKR would be my 4th dark horse. So let's see how they do.
Well, the name is Cold-Coated Knight Rider, and it almost implies a horse, so maybe you're right. I'm not sure. All right. So Pretty has been in between Oscars and winning Golden Globes and God knows what else. What's the story? What's your story? Where have you been?
Wow. So Oscar weekend was this last weekend, and every day of the week, as this is common in normal award seasons, every day you have a ton of events. You just go from one to another, and you get back home with a lot of goodies and you had a ball. So this is the first time that the industry has gotten together and tried to make the best of what they can. This was the most normal Oscar award season, I think, last year there was nothing. So they made a good attempt. I'm surprised that they had all the events. It was, people were following protocol, but there's still a lot of people in a ballroom in different hotels and so on. And it was still amazing to see that brands came out and people came out and press came out and stuff. But I'm very fortunate to be invited to all these exclusive events and just, meeting new people, sharing experiences with them was quite amazing. And then Oscar night itself was huge, as always, big galas, after parties and everything. I came home pretty late and I actually fell asleep in my gown because I was so exhausted. And in between that, of course, all my other media stuff. So I haven't slept much in the last few days. Very,
Well,
very
what I've
busy.
heard though, just from an outside perspective, the Oscars have not gone well. In fact, in terms of viewership, it's been one of the lowest years on
Yes,
record. So
agreed.
that's interesting. That's very interesting. All right, we better go back to cricket. Who won the Oscar today? It looks like Rajraj Gaikwad. He won the Oscar today. I think player of the match. I don't
Yes,
think but he wasn't acting. He wasn't acting. He was real.
yes.
Maybe Dave
Yes,
Warner's got the role for the biggest, the best drama would go to David Warner. Yet again, making a comment about the selectors, not him, which implies he's not happy with selectors. I mean, really, what person continues to shoot himself in the foot like that is him. He batted okay today, but his team are coming.
Norman, you're absolutely right. The best actor award goes to David Warner, and the best picture goes to CS. No, the best screenplay goes to CSK. Fairy Tale.
I think Delhi Capitals will be a late inclusion. I think they may win the Oscar, but that'll be in about a month's time. But that's
They're runners up. Runners up.
And RCB, well, Cashel will make he'll actually make the screenplay. He'll make the musical. What's the word? Winning best music or something?
Score.
Best score.
Musical score.
Best
He
score,
can
yes.
you can play the violin, Keshav. When
No,
RCB doesn't make it.
I'm a pianist, so not a violinist.
Well, you can do the tragic classical.
But you know who'll get the worst costume design? That will be Kings 11 Punjab, because they have just literally copied what RCB is wearing. Actually, Punjab Kings. I keep saying them Kings 11 Punjab.
I keep saying Punjab's King too. I can't get around PBKS.
PBK, yeah.
Just call it
hate that.
Punjab's 11.
What is a stupid abbreviation? PBK. Why bother putting 4 letters in?
Punjab King.
Why don't you say
King.
PK? Why not say PK?
PK, Piku, PK.
Why? Can you, Kesha, what idiot, marketing idiots? PBK.
No, so PK, I think they didn't really go for it because there's a film called PK in India. So people would actually think of that PK. Yeah.
Why would you think of that when you're watching a cricket match? Anyway.
Well, it was a big movie.
No, that's there. Plus, what it translates to is it's when somebody asks you, are you drunk? So that translates to PK.
That's right.
Well, either way, PBKS is a bit. Oh my god. Anyway, all right, we'll leave that one alone.
But I don't know why they couldn't think of a more original name or a more original jersey. I mean, we already have a Chennai Super Kings. I mean, Super Kings is there. Then why are you going for just plain Punjab Kings? I mean, you would have had so many options.
They should have called themselves Punjab Super Duper Kings. That would have set it apart.
But, I've often been tweeting, why have the Kings when you can have the Super Kings, baby? And CSK wipe the floor with them, right? Rightfully
and
so.
what's the fixation with Kings? I mean, you can use Prince. Punjab's princess is all princess, not princess. Sorry, Prince. So that's another option. I mean, if at all you have to have these kind of names.
Anyway, wasn't well thought out. That's all. All right. Manu John is saying SRH have seriously had a rough run. Well, the only roughness is their own roughness. It's no one else's fault. They've got a horribly disjointed management unit.
Yeah.
Categorically the case. And you don't fix that overnight unless you get rid of somebody. And they won't do that, of course. All right. Let's have a look at some of these comments here.
So there's a super chat.
What?
You're going to super chat, like somebody has paid money to get their comment on.
You have to read out the question.
Yeah, and Rajesh also, Sharma, of course, Warner has not been his usual self this season. He has really recovered from his groin injury. Where's that super? Like, I must have missed that. Was that early on?
No, this one only. The comment you just read, that was the super chat.
Okay. Well, that's actually Rajesh Sharma is a member of the platform, as opposed to just being a subscriber. The member gets privileges. We mentioned their name on screen, but in the long-term future, we'll have events that will take place where they'll be attending, and there might be a Monty Panesar or a Adam Gilchrist or Mervyn Richards or a Norman Kochnick maybe, but you need a double super duper whammy for that one. No, I'm only joking. All right. So, Kesha, you and I, we've been awake at this time slot too often now. I am considering getting a later time slot as well at 8:30 in the morning Indian time, because a few of the hosts have considered. In fact, quite a few hosts are considering having their show on every second night because of the sheer, the relentlessness of the games, which is great. But I think it's very hard to be able to maintain an audience of great size when you play 60 games in a row.
Yeah.
We've played 23 in a row. I mean, in any cricket format, you don't. I mean, even through the Test series, the ODI, we always had breaks, didn't we?
Yeah.
For both viewers.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting for us. Can you imagine the players actually playing it?
Yeah, and that too in bio bubble.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they're not sore.
Well, to be honest with you, I feel like we're in a bio bubble on the show. We're kind of there's not much room. I can't go left or right. I'm in a little, like I'm in a jail cell.
I'm sandwiched in between two guys.
Casual, sort of, I'm holding on the bars. Let's all hold on the bars for a second. Let's just pretend we're holding on the bars. All right. Manju Johns, you said Punjab Rockers. Why not?
No, a rocket that didn't go off.
Okay. Oh, Kane Williamson has joined us.
I think Punjab.
Kane Williamson has joined us. Didn't he just play now?
Kane, did you enjoy the game today?
Don't ask this Kane that question. We'll get a very different answer. CSK, DC, RCB have almost through. They literally need to win 3 or 4 games out of the next 8 or 9, and to win only 3 games, let's say out of 9, is a pretty cruisy effort from those teams. They really are the bottom seat, the top seat. Also, he said battle is probably for the 4th spot. Surprisingly, MI do not look to be confirmed. I would agree. I'm not going to talk about the Kane Williamson. He's changed his language all of a sudden. We won't even read those. I can be assured. If there's anything like Kesha, the other comment that we had the other day from the Chris Vernon fan club. Oh my God!
Was he trolling in Hindi?
It was more than trolling. It was hilarious, but we couldn't repeat it. I'm sorry.
For some reason, I just think this is the same guy who has made the Kane Williamson account as well.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So there we go.
See, this comment, even if SRH would have made 190, I think CSK would still have won because this was way below par what they got, and just because Warner played at a strike rate of 100 odd, that's why Manish Pandey's strike rate of 130 looks good on paper. But I thought the way Gaikwad and Faf batted on that pitch, it seemed like there was no demons at all in that pitch. So they should have gone for more than 200. Then only they had any chance, because CSK bats number 10 or 11, so that's the longest batting lineup. Yeah,
exactly. All right, so back to the game. The bowling efforts of SRH were horrible. Other than Rashid Khan, they were without a few bowlers. We're going to be fair. They're without, who are they like? They've dropped. They've not dropped. None of Rajan's injured. Bhuvi was not playing. You've got Jason Beredov is here, but he's not here yet. As in, he's available.
He's for CSK.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
That's okay. Normally happens to the best of us.
Okay, back to it. Nana Rajan and Bhuvi are both injured, correct? In the case of Mitchell Marsh,
he pulled out long back. No,
that's
he
right.
pulled out long back. They got Jason Roy.
Hang on. Mitchell Marsh is with SRH, correct?
No. He pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
No, but he was with SRH.
He was, and then they got Jason Roy for him.
Yeah, but Jason Beredov has gone where? He's gone to.
No, he went to CSK because he was replaced for Josh Hazelwood.
Correct. So, but he would have been in the mix for today, but wasn't selected.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I'm sure SRH would really like to have him because they need him. Maybe isn't there a so-called swap period now in existence as a swap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the transfer window is open, but so far no transfers have been done.
But I'm thinking more about Beredov. Maybe if he doesn't get a go for CSK, he's come all his way. He may want to go elsewhere. Who knows?
No, I don't think CSK would leave him because they might need him at some point in time.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying no one's been offered up in this transfer window?
I've heard that Rajasthan has requested for a couple of players. Like, for example, there's been one development. So Scott Kuglein was signed by RCB. He was a net bowler for Mumbai. He was in the nets as a reserve player, so he has been transferred there.
It almost seems like you're best being a net bowler and hanging around the squad because you bowl well enough for the nets, you get a game. Which, if I'm being really honest with you, is a rather cumbersome way of getting into a team. I don't know whether your form in the nets should be enough. I mean, Marco Jensen was certainly one with his brother that had been picked up in that way in South Africa. But look, I've had a lot to do with net bowlers, especially at the SCG. I regularly was the one that was involved with recruiting guys. I get young guys that I'd find to get them in the nets, and that was a great privilege for them because, of course, they got to bowl to Dhoni or to someone very famous. And I even picked up a guy who actually bowled the Australians who was doing landscape gardening for what's his name? For Nathan Lyon, which I
love it.
He was doing that. He was doing landscape. He was at the cricket with a beer in his hand. I said, Dion, come tomorrow and I'll get you to, not Dion, Dylan, come tomorrow and I'll get you to bowl in the Australian nets. Nathan Lyon looks up, in comes Dylan, and he goes, "What are you doing here? You should be at my place doing my landscape gardening." He had no idea that he was being bowled to by the guy that was his landscape gardener. Hilarious. Wasn't that funny? And I was the architect of it. All right. Now, Rajesh Sharma's certainly been putting them out here. I have requested players under loan and not swap since their foreign squad has been depleted. Okay, fair enough. I had a few questions about people using the word. I had some incredible guests in a pre-show on Extra Time. We had Nikhil Nuss, who is from ESPN. He's the host from ESPN. And Sumitra Bose, who is one of the most senior journalists. and we were using the terminology for players that are not from India, okay? And they were using the word foreigners.
Yep.
And I said, excuse me, foreigners? If I were to say in the BBL that we're going to get some foreigners to play, I would be lambasted with some sort of form of racial discrimination. So, because the word foreigner has a unfortunate implication. Really, the word should be non-Indian.
International.
Or, international, non-Indian. Or there's a third word. What else they use? Overseas player. Overseas player.
Overseas player. There you go. Or international.
Overseas player.
Yeah,
overseas player, non-Indian, or perhaps.
I don't like non-Indian. That's very similar to foreign.
Well, yeah.
Actually, it's worse. Like Indian, non-Indian.
Coming from an Indian, it's not necessarily wrong, but anyway, the word foreigner does have a connotation. So, all right, just letting you know.
You know, I have to make the point. It is so awkward, this whole transfer thing. Can you imagine if you happen to be the player that did change over? Awkward to join the new team. Awkward to when you play your old team. And it happens in all sports, of course.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem anymore. I think really they're so professional in the way they're doing it. They are actually, it's the whole of the 8 teams, quite frankly, are very close.
Yes.
There's only been players like Pollard, and I think Pollard had a bit of a discretion with a few players over time, and Pat Cummings did as well. But generally, the teams are great friends.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Kesha?
I do, but these are different times we are living in. The bio bubbles and the COVID situation, players pulling out. So I think this year, if more transfers happen than compared to what's happened last year in the last few years, then I wouldn't be surprised, because this is one of the stranger times and one of the different formats of IPL as well, isn't it? I mean, the Karma format of IPL, 2 venues at a time. So, that way, you might actually, especially a team like Rajasthan, who has suffered a lot. So they actually need a few quality players. So I think somebody like Uthappa or Pujara, who might not actually get a game at all. So they are the players who could get swapped or loaned.
So, with us heading into a season next year where there's going to be a full auction and the potential of a 9th and even a 10th side, they're going to struggle to get, I would argue, a right mix of players if they don't watch it. Admittedly, they'll bring up the domestic players to the fore, but I think it's going to be interesting how they actually truly expand to 9, 10 teams. I almost wonder why don't they just keep it to 8? Because
8
really,
is perfect. I don't see. Yeah.
I don't think there's enough time for 10.
Yeah. I mean, you need an even number, obviously, for numbers reasons, but 8 is more than enough. 8 is a handful. 60 games already.
Aren't they? How many games, Kesha, you got any idea about how many games they would need to play 10 teams?
Yeah, I know. So for 10 teams, they would need 94 games. And if
my God.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too much. Why?
If there will be 9 teams, then they'll be playing 76 games.
I actually, having gone through this, that's far too many games. The tournament would become elongated. They need to have double headers every day. Crazy.
Not every day, but I'm sure every Saturday, Sunday for sure.
If you want 10 games, it can be 10 teams. It can be done. You need to change the structure. You have to change the format a little bit.
They had 10 teams in 2011, if I'm not wrong, when we had Kerala, Kochi Tuskers and Pune Warriors, India.
Mm-hmm.
So back then, I don't think every team played each other twice. If I'm not wrong, even in BBL, there was a season where teams didn't play each other twice, right? So
Exactly. So the 2 teams you mentioned, Punjab Warriors and Deccan Chargers.
No. Pune Warriors and Kochi Tuskers. That was 2011.
But Deccan Chargers also been one of the teams in the selection as well.
Deccan was the present day Sunrisers Hyderabad. That's the old Deccan.
Okay, but all right. So effectively, it's only two sides that have fallen away from. Correct.
There have been a couple of other teams as well when CSK and Rajasthan were suspended for 2 years.
Right.
So Rising Pune Supergiant came in and Gujarat Lions came in.
But they were pseudo the same teams, weren't they? Really?
No, I mean, yeah, kind of, but they were only there for 2 years. So people are actually saying that the next year the two teams to come might be from the same teams, like the Gujarat Lions. They might be representing the Ahmedabad, the new stadium, and Pune would be the other team, either Pune or Lucknow. So these are the predictions.
I think Pune and Gujarat, or a name related to Ahmedabad, certainly.
Yeah, Ahmedabad is for sure because of the stadium.
Yes, you need a Gujarat team. We don't have one.
Yeah, but it's going to cause.
Are you
a
a Gujarati?
Sorry?
No. So Preeti said we need a Gujarat team. So I thought if she's a Gujarati in that case.
I'm not. I'm actually from Hyderabad.
Oh, okay.
but I don't support SRH. So.
Who do you support?
I'm as a huge MSD fan. CSK all the way, baby.
Same here. See, I'm wearing yellow.
Oh, now don't start saying, don't jump on CSK now. All right.
No, but Norman, yesterday I was the only one who said CSK will win today, and everyone else on the panel said SRH.
You know, I'm shocked that anybody in their right mind would, after CSK wipes the floor with far better teams, SRH is a much inferior team. To think that they would struggle, I think you'd have to be out of your mind. I mean, obviously there was no struggle. I mean, Preeti's prediction so far has been on the money. I have not got anything wrong. And I tweet before the game, and people just love it. They keep like, yeah, you're right, you know. So.
Let's not get too carried away, Preeti. Let's not get too carried away. It's SRH really had everything to play for today. So that's why people predicted them, because they really had a lot to play for. And they didn't bat that badly. It was more they bowled badly, I think, really.
No. I thought they lost because of the poor strike rates of Warner and to some extent even, Manish Pandey. I mean, sending Kane Williamson down the order, not utilizing his skills and not giving him enough balls, I think they probably now need balls to drop Warner and shift the captaincy to Williamson.
Yes.
But if you're a good enough bowling side, you can defend. There's been a fair few. The fact is they bowl poorly.
But Norman, just tell me, how can you defend 170 on a pitch that was actually kind of a 200 kind of a pitch? So if you're not scoring the par score, you're way below that. Then even if you have the world's best attack, you will be in a bit of a difficult situation to defend.
Oh, I grant that. I'm not saying they batted perfectly, but I think what I'm getting at is the top three, especially both the likes of Warner and Pandey, did achieve to score runs. There's been a lot of opening partnerships which have failed miserably down to bat of 4 or 5. So from that perspective, it is a positive. Okay.
Yeah. See, maybe if they had Bhuvneshwar and Natarajan, then it might have gotten a bit closer than it was, because they just have Rashid right now as a main weapon. Nobody else seems to be taking any wickets. So because of that, also I think 170 looked very ordinary.
Well, Warner's certainly out of sorts. He's been quoted as being very much an unhappy fellow. Mm-hmm. And he shows it every time he plays. Just have a look at this message for me. Can you read that, please?
I wonder why SRH is not trying Kane as captain instead of Warner, since the latter has been struggling in form and with decisions. Kane has been terrific, and maybe this reduces the load on Warner. But if they're taking off the captaincy, then I don't think Warner deserves a place in the team right now. Maybe you should be able to bring a Jason Holder, especially because Bhuvneshwar is also not there. So you need somebody like a Holder to do that new ball role alongside Sandeep Sharma, and also he can bat at 5 or 6 as well.
Okay, I've got no doubt. I've got no doubt about the relationship to CSK and their top position. Their net run rate is fantastic. They're performing well. Their top 3 batters are batting well. The bowlers are bowling quite admirably. They're in a good position. Yet, I still maintain that RCB and/or Delhi Capitals will be the teams to beat. Why? Because I still think that there's an edge there for them on their day. CSK had 5 wins on the trot, which is very, very good. They're looking in the goods. Let's see them stumble one game and see what happens. Let's see. I mean, I'm not trying to knock CSK, but I'm saying to you, CSK will be in the top 3, if not top 2. Whether they make it across the line, it's going to be very interesting. It's really open to those 3 sides. You have to argue. RCB on their day.
You said let CSK stumble. So what if I say when RCB or DC will stumble? How would you react to that? I mean, RCB seems to have...
I would agree with you. Then they would also be having a problem.
They have more of a chance of stumbling, actually.
And RCB did have a huge loss against CSK.
How can you say they've got more of a chance of stumbling than
because
they stumbled in the last game against CSK. So.
Yeah, and also against DC, they won by just 1 run.
Yes, the first game, that was very tight.
Okay, so just hang on a minute. If Rishabh Pant had scored a run in the early part of the over, what would you be saying then?
No, but right now we are talking about RCB. Like, if you talk about the top teams RCB has faced, okay, the first game against Mumbai, they won on last ball.
All right,
they lost to CSK.
I'm hearing you. The top 3 or 4 batters. Let's go the top 3. Okay, we're going to do that right now. The top 3 of RCB, the top 3, go to 4. Top 4 of RCB, top 4 of Delhi, top 4 of CSK. Analyse those 3. At the moment, CSK have done very well. Faf to proceed, Gaikwad, and certainly have done well. But would you then say AB de Villiers, Kohli and Maxwell, for example? Or in Delhi's case, they've got Punt and the likes of Shikhar Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw. Very hard to separate those 3 sets of gentlemen. You would argue that the best out of that lot is definitely AB de Villiers. In terms of the way he has batted, he's been the best batsman. Better than any Chennai Super Kings player as well. Faf to proceed has batted very well, yes. But I think AB de Villiers would be the one that would be the biggest worry from all those 3 teams.
But I don't think one guy can win you the tournament. For CSK, the thing is, for CSK, everyone is contributing.
Exactly. And also,
I didn't say that he would win the tournament. I talked about, did I say win the tournament? I said, who are the most threatening out of those top 3 players of each side? And definitely RCB has a player that can really turn a match. Okay.
Yeah, but the problem with RCB is that they obviously, we've seen the last couple of they don't always fire. This is where you go wrong with IPL prediction. Just because you've got star players doesn't mean that they will fire. We've seen them.
No one said that. No one said that.
Yeah.
No one said that.
No, but you're saying ABG is better. ABG is not wearing the orange cap right now. Who is?
No. See, in terms of talent, I agree. AB is far better than a lot of players, but AB is not wearing the cap because he's batting at 5. So that's another debate altogether. He's not
okay. All right. Yeah. Go back to the point you just brought up, pretty about who's got the orange cap. There's no correlation between the players scoring.
No, well, I mean, if you're not in the top 5, then you're saying that
actually, that's not relevant. The top player in the orange cap does not make your victory.
You'd have to make a decent amount of runs, though, to be considered such a threat.
Well, Samson's a player that scored a lot of runs.
No, but
he's not in the top 5, though.
But there have been 13 IPLs so far. Just once the orange cap holder has been on the winning IPL.
Exactly.
So,
it was a side comment. I just had to point that out when Well, and it's also how consistent are you? Are you doing it every single game?
AB is consistent. I mean, we can't take that away from him.
Not against the CSK, but the rest he was.
He's a person he'll also fail sometime.
The reality is that I'm talking about top 4 sides or even more so top 3 sides at this point that we know of that are there. You'd have to say that DC, RCB, and CSK are in the top 3, regardless of order.
Yeah, and this orange cap thing, like there was a comment as well. Even if Manish Pandey has all these runs, he has more runs than AB de Villiers, I guess. But these runs are not impactful. They have not come for the team's cause. So I don't think the number of runs should not dictate what kind of a player you are. Even if you're making 30 odd in teams winning contribution, then they are more impactful than a run of ball 50 or a 60.
It all comes down to who actually scores the runs when they count most, when they need to win a match and turn a match around. Now, Hedmeyer, for example, was fantastic in a losing match, and the players consoled him after the match. Really, there's a lot to say about
even Kane Williamson the other day when the match went to super over. I mean, the innings he played and still ended up on the losing side.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we're going to wait and see who. The main thing about de Villiers that I'm saying he deserves the position of being the most threatening. He has performed on all the pitches, whether they are like fair bowling pitches or the worst. He has got some of his best scores when the ball has been at its worst and everybody's been failing around him. So if Ahmedabad has that potential, which it certainly does, it has the potential to be as bad as Chennai. It can be a low, slow-turning pitch. We are looking at potentially a player like de Villiers being in his element.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying in his regard. Okay. We're jumping the gun a bit, but I think it's a healthy thing to do that. Okay, let's have a look.
There's a comment that says, I think it will be a final between CSK and DC this time. So that's kind of like the master and the apprentice.
I'm seeing that. I'm seeing a potentiality of that, or CSK and RCB.
Yeah, I mean,
I still think CSK and KKR.
KKR, I don't even think they're going to make the top 4. They're struggling to make
Look
that
out for them.
spot.
This Ahmedabad pitch will really suit them. Look
Let's
out
see.
for them in the coming games.
I've always said the 4th spot is up for grabs. I think the more important question is who is going to dethrone MI? Are they going to dethrone MI from that 4th spot?
If MI loses tomorrow, because now see they had a gap of I think 6 days.
Yep.
And if they still are not able to come up with the answers, then I think they will struggle to make it to the top 4. And even if they go to the top 4 in this kind of a bits and pieces form, then I think CSK and RCB and other teams are looking much more informed this year than MI.
The reality is that it's going to be between Mumbai Indians and KKR as far as I'm concerned for that 4th spot.
Yeah.
SRH were the team I thought earlier on, maybe the team, but unlikely. Yeah. Rajasthan Royals, very, very unlikely. And Punjab Kings, I don't know. They should have the potential. If they play a player like Milan and give Gale the opening spot, which you and I, Kesha, have talked about before, then you might consider them a chance. But, yeah. Oh, by the way, you would have heard of the earthquake in and in fact, Kesha and I talked about it, earthquake in Assam. Yeah. Nilakshi Sharma, who was on our show last night, immediately contacted me and told me she was very heavily shaken. Her home had several cracks in it, but survived quite okay. It was quite a severe earthquake. And it's sad to see that combined with what else is going on. There's a lot to be discussed there for sure. And the players that have gone home, I think last night we talked about it a little bit, didn't we, Kesha? The fact is, there was some discussion about Smith and Warner. Completely false. There's no truth to that at all.
Yeah.
That was rumour mongering. I'm very annoyed by that because it's just trying to implode.
Norman, what do you have to say about the comments that Adam Zampa has made?
I was a bit disappointed, to be honest. I thought it was a bit disappointing. He kind of implied that he wasn't getting a game. The guy's getting paid whether he plays or not.
It's ridiculous.
So what is he complaining about?
Yeah, but he also said that he felt safer in UAE, so he's actually questioning the bio bubbles in India. So that would make other players paranoid as well.
Oh,
yeah, no. That's not a nice comment to make.
I think he's got sour grapes at the moment. I really do. his ego has been hurt because he's not playing enough games. That's the truth of it. And look, I think Zampa's a nice enough kid. He's still a kid in my opinion.
He's a kid,
but
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, he's spoilt. He's made a lot of money from not having really made that much of his career in terms of Test cricket. In fact, he hasn't played a Test at all. Yeah. His ODI and T20 selections have been fairly intermittent. He's played a lot of IPL and made a lot of money. And that the person who I would be most upset about if I was them would be Chris Lynn. He should have been. He played well in his first match, scored 50 odd, hasn't seen a game since. Quinton de Kock hasn't performed at all. So,
but didn't Lynn also make a comment that Cricket Australia should actually be arranging chartered flights for Australian players once the IPL is over because they make 10% of every contract?
Oh, cricketers they get 10% of every contract. Well, I tell you what, I think it's disgusting because they're not better than anyone else. Okay, they've gone to play cricket and made a lot of money, but why have they got it? They're not royalty. I don't care. Give a toss about them. Get on a plane like everybody else.
I tweeted a poll. I said, bench warmers are going back home. Should we be concerned? 75% said no, and there were quite a few people who answered my poll. So I'm sorry, bench warmers, you can go home. It's all right. Nobody's going to be missing.
It's not even about bench warmers. The fact is, any cricketer is not above the law, so to speak. And I'm afraid, even the bubble effect. I understand why the bubble's there because we want to protect them to play games. I get that, but they are not. It's getting out of hand now. Really, it's getting out of hand because if we've stopped flights to Australia, we've stopped flights to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, and maybe Richardson and Andrew Ty and Zampa were just lucky to be flying just in time. I just feel that maybe Stoinis should have had a word with Zampa. He might not have gone.
Well, they're pretty good mates. In fact, there's some rumours going around there that I won't go into.
More than just mates.
I mean, look, Zampa's. Look, I don't want to knock Zampa. Good on him. He's made his career in IPL. He's made a bit of money out of it. He's well off, but he's not the best bowler in Australia. I can assure you. He's not the leading spinner. There's a lot of spinners ahead of him. And
no, but in Australian white ball formats, isn't he the leading spinner?
Sorry?
In the Australian white ball formats, isn't he the leading spinner?
Well, it's not about. You're not getting my point. I judge a player in Test cricket, okay? And he has not played one single Test match. If you're going to be a quality cricketer, you need to have played Test cricket, full stop. Okay? And that's the way I will always judge a cricketer. Even the likes of Dave Warner wasn't deemed to be a cricketer until he showed himself in Test cricket, which he has, and it's commendable. His short form version of the game did not say. There's a few others I could talk about.
But a lot of these players, like Chahal, he just plays white ball for India. He's our probably primary spinner right now. Or there's the example of Adil Rashid as well for England.
I'm talking. You asked me about Australia, not about India.
That's
so
right.
Why am I comparing Indian bowlers to Australian bowlers? I'm not. I'm talking about Australia and representing our country. You need to have played Test cricket to really weigh up. India can do whatever they like. Okay, I don't care what you want to say there. Therefore, Chahal is not the best bowler in India.
Right.
Ashwin is. Jadeja is.
Yes.
Okay, by a country mile. So even that is not.
But the problem with Australia has been like the white ball spinners are not playing red ball. Nathan Lyon doesn't get a game in white ball. Asian Agar doesn't get a game in red ball. So that's been the problem for a while now.
Nathan Lyon has dominated Test cricket bowling as a spinner for a long time, and good reason. He's the top 15 bowlers in the world ever. Whether he's thought of as a great bowler or not, he's got the wicket taking capability over a long 100+ Test career. You can't knock it, can you? I mean, he isn't the most beautiful bowler. I tell you what, he can certainly fill up his own bowling though. You've never seen better catches ever in your life. But look, the guy he's he's potentially, give him another year or two in Test cricket, he will be in the top 10 leading wicket takers. Top 10. That's pretty amazing.
Do you think Nathan Lyon doesn't get white ball games as much, also because of his inability to bat, actually? Because people are looking for longer batting lineups in white ball.
Yeah, I would say his batting would certainly have something to do with it. But he bowls very well in the domestic competitions as a spin bowler in the short version of the game. So he has been rather pigeonholed in that way. But look, I don't think he really is complaining. He's played over 100 tests for Australia. That's his true mark of quality, really.
And going back to Zampa, I think this also differentiates the boys from the men. I mean, they're players that are very professional, respectful, have integrity, are politically correct, show respect to the host nation, blah, 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 all of that. And then you got people like him saying these things, which he honestly should just keep to himself if he feels that strongly about. It's not a good look. And I hope the teams that they take all of this seriously. You don't have to welcome these people back next time. Come on, you cannot have this limited scarcity mentality when it comes to the overseas player. Like that they have the touch of God. They don't, especially with the quality that we are producing ourselves in our country, right? I am so disappointed with this overpaying. Really paying huge sums of money for some of these people that have not fired. It's extremely disappointing, and they have themselves to blame. I hope they learn the lesson. I don't want to see this next year in the auction.
Well, Cricket Australia, go back to Cricket Australia for a minute. They need their heads read because they have created an enormous amount of arrogance in the team for a number of years. It was meant to have been stopped, but it hasn't been. Dave Warner should be thanking God that he's playing cricket at all because of his attitude, especially in Australia. I'm disgusted with the guy, and he's continuing to do it right now with this whole selection rubbish he's going on about. This whole there are 4 other blokes in the team. Go read the team sheet. I would have pulled him up and told him off then. The guy's got away with too much. He is the reason why SRH have imploded as well.
Yes.
Not just the coaches or whatever. He fundamentally is not there. He's not there.
And the way things are going, I am not sure if SRH will actually retain him next year.
Interesting.
That's true. They're talking about. I'm not sure. I talked to many people today about who would be your top 3 players that you would retain for next year in the so-called auction, and it would be Kane Richardson, Rashid Khan, and Bairstow.
You mean Kane Williamson?
What did I say?
You said Kane Richardson.
I meant Williamson. Okay, my apologies. It's late. Give me a break. It's 5 o'clock in the morning.
So you said Williamson, Rashid, and who's the third one?
Bairstow.
Okay.
For SRH.
Yeah.
Why isn't Kane Williamson captaining? I don't get it. He is the better player. He's one of the best players in the world. He's one of the best captains in the world. They like Warner. They like him. They like him.
SRH probably,
I have a feeling their management actually likes David Warner quite a bit.
No, maybe it's also because of the loyalty factor. They won under him in 2016. But for me, I think Williamson should be the captain, plainly because of the simple reason that, when 2018 Warner was not there, in Warner's absence, Williamson led them to a final. And Warner has always had Williamson. So, Williamson didn't have all his best resources and still took the team there. He had himself a 600-run season. So that way, I think Williamson brings in more value as a captain when he's leading the team. So just like KKR did last year. Yeah, and just like KKR changed the captain right in the middle of the last season. So they can still do it. I mean, if they want a change of fortunes, they should try it out.
Well, I give SRH maybe one more game if they lose badly again.
No, but Norman, they have lost 5 out of 6. So to make it to the next round, they need to win at least 6 out of the next 8 games.
Possible.
6 out of 8. If you give one more, that means 7 out of 7 they will have to win.
Well, then change it now. Then if they've got the guts to do it, but if they're serious, they should be changing it now.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, they're not going to do it. It's virtually impossible for them to turn that around. They haven't got the depth of players.
What if the ownership actually interferes? Then they might.
What might continue to suddenly win?
No. I'm saying if the ownership of SRH Group, if they interfere, then they can influence the management to take this decision of changing the captain in between.
Of course. Well, look, they need to do it. They really need, because there's a certain cloud over their team.
Yes.
And even though, look, the last two games, you would argue they've played better. Certainly, they have played better, but they're still losing. So it's not a matter of that. Okay, Manu John's made a comment here that I'm not exactly sure whether there's any. What's this? First, KK must be thrown out of the IPL. Do you don't like them or something? What have they done wrong?
This is so funny. Why? What's the reason? What have they done?
He says, explore the internet. What the deep dark
Okay,
web.
I'll explore. I've been busy with other things, but I'll explore.
That's not a sentence. That's just a name of an account. Explore the internet.
Oh, I see.
What do you say, Manu John?
Explore the internet made a comment that he feels the main problem with KKR is they're still playing players like Gill and Naran.
Oh, I see. Here we go. Sorry. All right.
No, not this one.
I can't. Anyway, doesn't matter. That one there? No.
No. You are going up and up. You have to come to the latest ones. Yeah, the one below.
Okay.
Yeah, this one. See, I think KKR has to get their batting order in order because right now in that top three, Rahul Tripathi seems to be much more in form in the groove, and he should not be batting at 3. If he can open, I think it's time to probably drop Nitish Rana. They should open with Sunil Narayan and Rahul Tripathi. One down, they should bring in Shubman Gill because clearly, when he's opening, he has the pressure of making good use of the power play and he's throwing away his wicket. So if he's coming after the power play, after a team has got a good start, then in the middle overs, he can actually maneuver, with the fields and he can face the spinners as well in the middle overs. And then Morgan at.
I'll tell you right now, they won't be putting Gill at first drop. They've from an Indian team perspective, I know it's not playing for India in this particular tournament, but they've really put Gill as an opener, and I get your point.
So if not 3, if they still want to continue with him to open, then I think that Nitish Rana should be dropped and Tripathi can open, or Sunil Narayan can open. So that gives them another space for another option. Somebody like a Karun Nair is sitting out. He has a test 100.
All right, let's return back to today's match for a moment. We saw Moeen Ali return after an injury, had a niggling so-called hamstring injury, and even the likes of one of the other batting partners of his. Let me have a look. There was another batting partner. I think it was, if I'm not wrong, it was Ryuju also had a so-called hamstring injury. So it's intriguing that they played Moeen Ali because he had a niggle and it was only out for one game. So he was out for a couple of days.
Yeah.
A niggle and a hamstring injury, you don't recover from that in a few days. You need at least a week to 2 weeks at minimum. So it's intriguing that do they see the importance of having Moeen Ali playing today? They may well have. And he is going to be a significant player. It's amazing how for England he's not playing first drop, how England don't utilise him this way. The previous, who was he with last season? He was with RCB.
He was with RCB.
Yeah. But I don't think he can play for England at first drop because of the quality of batsmanship that England has in the top order. Moeen, I think he plays at 7 if he gets a chance with England. So
he has played first drop and even opener.
That was long back, Norman. That was long back before they got the likes of Butler, Stokes, Morgan, all these guys. Yeah,
I appreciate that, but my point is that he's probably not been. He's gone under the radar for a while.
Agreed.
And I think that Dhoni realised his potential and they put him up at first drop. And he could be the reason, one, or if not the only reason, but one of the major reasons why CSK could return to a
Yes.
victory in this series. Well, clearly the CSK thinks so, because of him having a small injury and rushing him straight back in. It's kind of evidence of that.
He's one of the reasons. He's one of the main reasons why CSK has done well, because of the whole new template that they are playing with right now.
Yeah.
You know, if you see even the last season, you know, the way Faf and Watson were batting in the power play, it showed how conservative they were because of the vulnerability in the batting lineup to follow. But since this year we have got Raina back, we have got Moeen Ali at 3, and then later on we have an informed Jadeja, informed Sam Curran, and you know, with Dhoni and Raidu as well there. So that way, I think it gives them more freedom and kind of play in the blueprint that England plays the white ball game.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot to be said about. There is the overall competition this year is certainly led to a lot of, up until this point, some very ordinary games. It may be somewhat pitch related or depth of play related. There've been some ordinary games, haven't there?
Yeah.
There only been 3 or 4 that were close and a bit nailed by like, or showed great batting performances. But in general, even today's match was rather disappointing. It was very anticlimactic. There wasn't really a great deal of substance to it. The CSK side were in control from the start when they batted. 121
dominated.
121
This year is, I wouldn't say it's more disappointing than the other previous years. I think the game has evolved a little bit, and I think the criteria for winning is different. And you know, maybe things like just being consistent, working together, being solid, good attitude, loyalty, all these things obviously are more important than just, you know, coming in, firing, and being out of the box and all that exciting stuff. I just think that also with what's going on around the world, the championship, this tournament reflects that in some way. And I like to see that. I want to see you don't want to see every year, you know, the same stuff. It's different in nature, and I welcome it. I think it's great.
Yeah, well, it's been difficult no matter what because of the conditions. Having to play on the same pitch several games in a row, or the same ground several games in a row, not being able to play at home grounds. There's a whole list of reasons. The bubble certainly has been a negative for them, but they've actually gotten through it relatively well. Yeah, it's a fair point. All right.
You know, Hitesh has been asking a question since yesterday. Who will CSK play in this year's final?
I've been ignoring that question. No, I haven't.
I like the question though. I like where he's coming from. I like
it's kind of like nostalgia, isn't it? I mean, until 2018, 2019, there was this joke or the meme that used to go around that IPL is a tournament where 7 teams compete to play CSK in the finals.
I love it.
We are back to that now.
But hang on a minute. CSK finished 7th last year.
That was a one-off. That was a one-off year.
No, that was last year.
But I said that joke used to be there until 2019. I didn't say last year.
I know that, but why are we talking about that when they came 7th last year? That now becomes.
That was a misnomer. That was a black swan year. I mean, these people are 8 finals. Excuse me.
Fans, this is becoming overwhelming. I could say blue and you'll say black.
Black. No, but you know what I mean. I mean, 8 finals, 3 championships.
Yeah, so okay, then smarty pantsers. Then
hey, do not be nasty to me, and do not. Jealousy is not a pretty thing.
Hitesh Basi, exactly my point, Keshav. Okay, Hitesh Basi must be related to Keshav. Is he a part of your musical group or something? I'm not sure.
No, just because he has bass in his name, he doesn't belong to my group or something.
I think I'm very serious. He's even got little groovy dark glasses. All right. Let's assume CSK make the final. Let's assume. Who are they going to play? They're going to play against the winner of the tournament. That's what they're going to do.
Good one.
Okay, dream on.
That's it. Hitesh, you wanted an answer? I just gave you an answer.
No. Please, we do not want to lose another final. I mean, the 2019 final loss by 1 run still hurts me. So I am okay with not reaching the final, but losing the final. We have lost more finals than we have won the finals. I mean, we lost in 2012, we lost in 2013, then 15, then 17 again. Pune lost to Mumbai by 1 run, where Dhoni was there. 19 we lost by 1 run. So no more final losses, please.
I'm sorry. Don't who are you saying please to? You're saying please to me or who?
No,
to the IPL gods or what?
I'm saying please to the nature around me, please.
To the universe, to the
universe.
To Brahman.
What has the universe and nature got to do with an IPL company?
It has everything to do.
What do you mean
Spirituality
smoking?
is everything. The universe is
the birds
everything.
and the bees and the birds and the bees and the tree. They're playing on a cricket ground, for God's sake.
No.
See, Norman, we Indians think a bit differently. So maybe, you might not.
All destiny, fate,
karma,
energy, karma,
all that
wonderful stuff.
Should they play the game
all very karmic, I'm saying,
Should they play the game of the auspicious hour at 3:34 in the morning?
Absolutely. Hey, if you speak to an astrologer, if the team, maybe CSK has an astrologer for the team saying, get this and do the numerology. They do that in India. I mean, obviously not.
If someone tells me I'm going to get married at 3:34 in the morning because someone's
you have
to. They've got rocks in their head. I'm not doing that.
No, they don't. People do that. They get married at all kinds of hours.
I'm going to be sarcastic now. I know about this auspicious hour. Having been married to a Sri Lankan who lived and breathed by that, the reality is when you never get told to have a wedding at 3:30 in the morning. It's always 6 a.m. till about 11. They actually have their windows open only certain times of the day, which is balderdash because the auspicious hour is 24 hours, not when the time is the shop opening. I'm being nasty.
You have a window actually when the sign changes. It's usually the ascendant changing. Every 2 hours it changes. So you have that placement for 2 hours. So you got a window.
Okay. I asked a question about Chris Morris. No, he's not worth the money. Full stop.
He's not.
And even more damaging is Jai Richardson and Meredith, two space cadets who should have been sent home on the first plane.
Even Jameson is not that much worth in T20 cricket.
But he won't. Isn't it amazing how the other game, Chris Jordan got selected, and they looked over those two young guys. They may well not be selected again.
Yeah. Well, they shouldn't.
Yeah, awful. Full tosses, wides. It was like 12-year-olds. I'm embarrassed. As an Australian, I'm embarrassed. They got
There's a comment that says Rashid deserves 25 crores.
Nobody deserves 25.
No, hang on. He does. He's the best bowler. Every team says they just block him out to survive him. He is the one that's quality. Meredith and Richardson didn't even put the ball on the pitch.
But I think we should not really keep the money they go for as a yardstick or compare them with it. Yeah. I mean,
hang on. How could it not be a yardstick? You pay someone because of their quality. If they're not good enough, don't pay them.
But is SRH, are they winning? No, it's not going to happen, right? So all that money was for what?
Wasted.
Exactly, I agree.
Yeah, but the point is some of these franchises, I mean, a lot of times when the ownership is involved at the auction table, they just don't really. Sometimes the ego also comes in, isn't it? I mean,
and they panic sometimes. They just want to grab something,
Yeah, and they do it for fun. It seems like they're not actually doing it with an analyst. They're just the ego wants to win against the other team.
They got like 90 crores to burn. They're like, what can we do, baby? Let's do it. Let's get this guy. And a lot of teams still have money left in the kitty. Some don't, some do. And
look, I mean, it's not the player who decides how much he gets. It's not in his control. Yeah. There are times when somebody goes like an uncapped player, like Devdutt Padikkal. He went for 20 lakhs, I think. He scored 100.
Yeah.
He scored 100. So, that way anything can happen here in IPL. So we should not really be concerned how much Chris Morris got and how much he's performing. I mean, for God's sake, Jaydev Unadkat got 12 crore in a season, 8 crore in another. He made 20 crore in just for 1 year. I mean,
And
he
he's a
can.
kid. And
His,
he's a domestic young player.
yeah,
He's not even
he's
Chris
not.
Morris.
He's not that young as well. But I mean, we should not really think of money as a yardstick, because the player's involvement in how much he gets, it's not there. It's not in his control. Somebody else is deciding his fate, how much he can get.
Okay, I want to make a point about something else here. This might cause some controversy. Pat Cummins gave $50,000, and I think Lee
Brett
gave
Lee.
one. Brett Lee gave one Bitcoin.
Yes.
Now, look, I'm actually profusely angry about both of these situations. One, if there's such a good thing, these guys are making millions, right? 50,000, like me taking a $10 note out of my wallet. I'm sorry, okay? It might sound like a big deal, but I actually am offended that we have to talk about it, that they have to publicise it. You know what? If they were really decent, they would pay the money and not say a bloody word. I am because let's be honest, they put $50,000 into one Bitcoin, they're going to get 50 Bitcoins and $500,000 back from the publicity of their play and the status. It's an absolute injustice that we're hearing someone giving money and making it out to be a big deal and publicising it. If they were decent, they would shut the hell up and just pay it and be happy about it. I'm actually severely offended that someone's plastering all over this. I paid 50,000. How good am I? I don't care. If I'm getting paid tens of millions of dollars to be a cricketer and I'm putting 50 grand in, if they're really, really that way inclined, put their whole pay packet forward. Then I might react. Okay? Because they are getting disgustingly paid, and 50 grand and one Bitcoin. What? Brett Lee is an idiot to be talking about Bitcoin. What the hell? Just tell us about an amount of money. One Bitcoin. I mean, is he being paid by Bitcoin to do it? How do we know? How do we know that that whole structure hasn't got him to do that? I mean, I'm disgusted. It's a con job. It's a con job. I don't care less. They've got millions. 50 grand. What a load of crap. I'm not impressed by that. I'm a young kid up the road here who's got $5 for them, giving his $5 note. That means more than me.
Sure, but I don't think I get your point. I think there's another point to this. Number one, we don't know if they did it for publicity. The story might have been leaked. Media gets a hold of these details.
Rubbish. Absolutely.
No, it was Pat personal account. It was done from his. It was a kind of a very personalized thing.
I thought it was a great look. There's another side to this. Somebody is benefiting. The fund is benefiting. And by the way, yes, they get paid a lot, but isn't 50,000 better than a big fat zero, which all the other players seem to be?
If I didn't give money to someone and it was my decision in my life, it's not worse. It's my decision in my life. I may be not able to afford to do it.
No, but I'm talking about these players. I'm talking about the players that get gazillions, but not contributing at all.
But if it is, I'm categorically correct in this. It is a publicity stunt. Yes, it's a lot of money. First of all, it's a tax deduction, right? First of all, okay. Second of all, they're going to make tenfold more because of the image that they're portraying. Okay.
So there is collateral gain. The fund gets money. It goes to a good cause. You have to take that with it. Intentions aren't. It doesn't matter if there's a greedy, selfish guy. If he's donating, good on him. There's a charity that's benefiting somewhere around the world.
I'm afraid you don't know enough about cricket and the way that it works. It's a publicity stunt, nothing else.
Excuse me, I work in Hollywood, where PR really comes from. And they do. Celebrities do this every day, by the way. I'm just making another point.
But there's not another point. It's irrelevant because Pat Cummins has put $50,000 forward, and then all of a sudden Brett Lee puts one Bitcoin. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. He was jumping on that whole thing, and the fact that the whole thing was.
But imagine if everybody jumped on it. How big would that fund be? Think about it that way.
Yeah, but they don't have to publicize it.
I agree that you don't need to publicize it, but I'm just saying that, hey, it was donated, somebody benefited, be grateful.
No, their management has said, why don't you do this? You want to help out? Let's do it. But we make sure we make something out of it.
Okay, guys, back to cricket.
Yeah, I know.
I'm afraid it's worthy of talking about because it is.
Yeah, but I
There's
think
a lot of
we,
Australians are talking. A lot of Australians are talking about it. A lot
Yeah.
of Australians see it as absolutely hypocritical. It may have backfired if they try to do it for publicity reasons. It's going to backfire.
yeah, I mean, look, the Brett Lee thing was a bit of a stunt.
The Bitcoin thing was a bit
Yeah. But what Pat Cummins did, I mean, yes, I get Norman's point as well. The amount of money these guys make, he can easily just donate one whole season's salary, and he would still be filthy rich. But the other point, which probably Preeti is making, is that we should not judge Pat Cummins on how much he contributed. I mean,
it's
up to him. It's up to him. It's a gesture that.
By the way, he doesn't need to give anything, and the fact that he gave anything, where are the Indian players? I'm seeing in all the Indian news shows, we are appalled that the Indian players have contributed nothing, and we have the 2 foreign players doing it. How does that sound? That's a bad story, you know.
A lot of Indian cricketers, Dhoni's, Tendulkar's, Gangullis have given millions. And
and over their careers, I agree, but I'm saying
but they're not out there advertising 5 minutes later they've done that.
Some do, some don't.
I respect that immensely.
Okay, I have a question for Norman. So, for example, if this situation was in Australia, do you think Pat Cummins would have contributed and made kind of an Instagram post about it, or would he have contributed with the same amount of money or more because it was in Australia?
I don't think the country's relevant. He's doing it because where he knows where his bread is buttered, and it's in the cricketing public, whether it's India, Australia, wherever. This it's not limited to India. It's the reality of the overall PR stunt that it was.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm sorry, Kesha, you're not going to, you are, I'm being really honest with you, you're totally wrong in this situation. It's wrong. It can't be, Indian players, and I can tell you some examples from New Zealand and in South Africa. I know from the girls that I'm involved with, these girls haven't even got money and they'll go and do things for free. That's where the true effort, and they don't want publicity. They're the true people that are doing that, okay? I know that there's a lot of, I won't go into detail, but there's people, players in New Zealand that do things and they don't ask for any concept. The Indian players, Dhoni does not want to be publicising this.
Absolutely, agree.
If Dhoni gave $50,000, he wouldn't be looking for
it. We would never hear of it. We would never hear of it.
So there is my answer right there. It is wrong. Full stop. Okay? I'm sorry.
Okay, to each. I mean,
we'll all agree to disagree. At the end of the day, the fund has more money today than it did yesterday. That's a good thing. Let's move on.
It's more severe than that. I actually have a less opinion of Pat Cummins and Brett Lee. In particular, Brett Lee, after what's happened. 1 Bitcoin? What sort of, what is that? 1 lunar module landing or something? What is he?
Okay, we need to see the comments as well.
I am, but explore the internet. If you haven't got a proper name, mate, I'm not even going to entertain the thought of listening to your conversation.
He's right, though.
Internet,
let's talk about.
I've got very little. I'm not going to be dictated by someone online who's got a name like Explore the Internet who's going to tell me what to do with my show.
Now you're talking like me.
You explore the Internet, you can go get lost. I don't care.
I do this all the time. Remember, there's a nasty. I'm like, excuse me, blah blah blah. This is so fun. Now you're becoming me.
No, but I mean, I'm not going to have somebody call Explore the Internet and tell me what I'm going to say on my show. That's disrespectful. See you later, pal. Go get a real name.
His name was Explore the Internet, and his comment was also Explore the Internet, right? No, I'm with you. I'm like with a name like War and Peace or.
Keshu, I'll tell you now, mate. Don't react to people's comments because that's wrong. You're doing a program of great quality. If you do that, you'll be steering all over the joint like a boat.
No.
I don't look at the comments at all. Although
I'm not concerned about that. There are a lot of spam comments coming, just like the Chris Vernon thing. So
this is the comment that I respect. Okay, I'm doing a great job here, helping people be exposed to cricket. I love it, and that's what we need to hear, because this is what.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is a response that I'm glad I've just gotten. I respect that you made it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Change of heart.
All right.
It's
there we
nice
go.
when they apologize.
Okay. All right. Now, and it is a passion of mine. I help female cricketers with the shirt on my back. I don't get 1 cent. I don't go around telling the world, aren't I a good person? That's what my point is.
Okay, let me ask.
Point taken and agreed. Point taken.
Let me ask.
All right.
Let me ask a cricket-related question now. Norman, how impressed are you by Rituraj Gaikwad's batting?
Well, I mean, he was being bagged about 2 or 3 games ago. They were saying, well, Tupper should come in, didn't they? Quite a bit. In fact, we may have even said that as a group. The fact is, he has reacted to that with some great play. He's astounded me. Not unlike, of course, we had Padikkal as well. Padikkal's in the same boat. Those two are magnificent players. India keep producing. Heaven help them.
And he looks more than just a T20 player, isn't it? I mean,
yes.
he can play all the formats.
I can see Gaikwad in the national side.
Incredible batting shots.
Elegant.
And what's more baffling was the way he was actually dealing with the spin as well. I mean, just before he got out to Rashid, he played a couple of really good shots to Rashid as well.
Oh, look, that's the key. The way that he played against the best bowler in the competition by far. And Rashid Khan is impossible to pick. The fact that I think Glenn Maxwell started this when he batted him on the earlier matches. He attacked Rashid Khan. And if you're positive mindset, you can take him on. Although he's still the greatest bowler I've seen for a long while. There was a comment here. What was this? I don't like.
I like it. I like the comment. It's cute.
Actually, Cricinfo made a typing mistake today. I think they said Sunrise Hyderabad won the toss and elected to bet.
Ooh, is that a slip of the tongue? Wink, wink, hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
It was meant to be bad, of course, but they said elected to bet. I thought that was hilarious. Maybe it was deliberate. I don't know. It was funny.
Keshav, I want to ask you, who's going to get the purple cap? Harshal Patel or Deepak Chahar? Or is it someone else?
Definitely not Deepak, because Harshal is way ahead of him right now. Harshal is at 17, Deepak is at 8.
Yeah.
And you never know. I mean, it could be neither of them going forward. If somebody has a couple of great games, they can leapfrog Harshal in coming days. But right now, Harshal Patel seems to be the likely candidate, because he has 17 wickets in 6 games, so that's almost 3 per game.
Yeah.
And the all-time record also is of 32. So he needs 16 wickets in the next 10 games if RCB goes to the final. So that there are good chances of him doing that. But Harshal seems to be one of those bowlers who will probably go for runs, but also keep picking up wickets. Because we saw in Mumbai, he was taken for flyers. He went for 97 in 8 overs in the 2 games he played at Wankhede, which were actually the proper batting wickets.
Yeah.
So it'll be a test of him when he'll be playing on conditions where it won't do much for the bowlers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but for purple cap, he's weird. I think right now orange cap is a difficult one to predict.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just so many games to go. We could certainly have someone bowl. Can you tell me the tally? Because I'm trying to find it. Can you give me the tally? Have you got the tally there?
For what? For what?
Orange cap.
Orange cap, Faf got it today, and I think before him, Shikhar Dhawan had it.
Yes.
And then there's KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma in the race as well.
Yes.
I'm just going to the series now. I'm going to the listing. Yes. I'm just getting tables. I'm not getting. Hang on. Top wicket takers. Yeah. So yeah, Faf to police 270. 265 with Shikhar Dhawan, and Rahul's 240, which is intriguing. Very good. Intriguing how he's on 240.
We also need to look at their strike rates. Rahul might be having the lowest one.
But if MI doesn't do that well, then yeah, it won't be Shikhar.
Am I?
Oh, sorry.
DC.
DC.
DC. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
their uniforms are the same. It's so confusing.
Yeah, I
Where's
mean,
Will?
for God's sake, come out of blue. I mean, there are different shades as well.
The men
That
in blue. The men in
I'm
blue. Oh,
so I'm so
very confusing.
flabbergasted by the designers they hire. I mean, Norman, I should compliment that BBL has such better jerseys and designs and colors. IPL just fails on it totally.
Yeah, I don't know what goes wrong there. It should be distinct, shouldn't it? There should be. I know. Don't forget they sell these jerseys, and
Yeah.
as we see in the various leagues of soccer, they change jerseys away and for and all this. It's all about money. Let's be honest.
Yeah, all the sponsors and the logos, everything takes a lot of space anyway. And and even more baffling is Punjab Kings just copying everything from RCB jersey, the helmet, the
So
color, and
funny.
everything. Yeah, and I think RCB is waiting for that game so that they can put on their green jerseys as well, so that teams can be differentiated on the ground.
Yeah, maybe it's the same supplier. Maybe they have too many of one color. Maybe
This
they
is
need
so
to be careful.
funny. They have the same supply. I think obviously CSK, great branding. I'm not crazy about yellow as a color, but it works from a marketing perspective because it stands out.
Yeah,
They've
actually,
done
right
very
now
well.
CSK's jerseys look the best.
And
it's-
yellow too,
Yeah,
right? They have made a
and-
whole. They have a hashtag now.
Yeah, and funnily, Punjab just didn't take the jersey, but also a lot of players from RCB. I mean, Chris Gale used to play for them, KL Rahul used to play for them, Sarfaraz Khan used to play for them, Mandeep Singh used to play for them, Chris Jordan has played for them. So they are taking all the players and the jersey color and ideas from them. All they needed to do this season was, rather than naming their team Punjab Kings, they could have named Punjab Challengers or something like that.
I'd be happy to go back to white shirts, not in IPL, but I do like my white shirts, playing traditional cricket. Something beautiful about a white cricket outfit, I must say.
I mean, if you remember, KKR started with black and golden kind of combination in 2008, which was so good. And now they are also in a kind of a purple kind of a shade. So
Certainly are. All right. No, I'm not sure this is a nasty comment or what. Norman, did I see WWE Wrestling? No. Big Show at IPL. I'm not sure what's going on there. Although you've lost me on that one. Can you release my fan reaction videos? They've been very successful. I'm getting hits like 500,000 and 900,000 on my fan reaction videos in a collaboration. They're great. I really enjoy talking to the public. It's something that, as you know, Stacey, we were down on the beach the other day, weren't we?
Yeah.
And it's
no, but this guy actually asked you that when will you release the next one?
Well, I'm going to be going to a coffee shop just in a short while after this, and I'm going to be talking to people there. And it's a coffee shop that Steve Smith, Moses Enriques, Dave Warner, Shane Watson go to. They're not here, but all the people in the coffee shop know them because they're almost there. They're there every day. It's actually not in Coogee, it's in Randwick, which is just borders Coogee. I know the place called Gusto, and they're always there. That's apparently their go-to place, and all the people there love to tell me that. Every time I go there, I tell them at my show, and they go, "Oh, you should stay here. You'll see Steve Smith." I said, unlikely, unless he comes back from the bubble, he's not there. But I'm going to go there and have a chat to these people who know them really well. It's a very smallish cafe, but it's just got that groove about it. I'll be there today, having a chat. I mean, Kesha and I went to the beach, didn't we? And we just happened to bump into the mayor of Randwick and the head of Randwick Rugby, and that was dead set, not planned, wasn't it?
Yeah, but let's clarify that I didn't go with him physically.
I was like, are you in Australia right now?
No,
hang on. What do you mean? You were with me. You were
not physically. I was virtually,
electronically.
Yeah. Well, what's the difference in this modern age? What's the difference?
Not in person.
The difference is I couldn't enjoy the cup of coffee over having that day.
Well, you could watch me enjoying the coffee.
That is torture.
How is that the same?
Well, both of you, I haven't actually physically met in person, but I know you too well.
Yes.
Maybe unfortunately,
But
I'm not sure.
you
Maybe too well.
you will meet me this year when you come to India for World Cup.
Of course. The reality is that, you know, it's a nice looking. Oh my God, it's a lovely sunrise going on out there. There's a light blue and pinkish tinge going on, although it's bloody cold. But
It's 81 out here. It's a very hot day in Los Angeles. Gorgeous day. I'm gonna go to my coffee shop, which is called Crave, which is famous, and I'm gonna go have some chai and get some writing done or something like that.
Norman, do you know what's chai?
Of course he
Chai,
does.
of course I know what chai is. What do you think? I don't know, living under a rock? Of course I know what chai is.
I'm in Sri Lanka. They have the
I
best
forgot.
tea in the world. Oh,
Yeah.
ooh la la.
What was
Best tea in the world.
They had a sponsor as well, isn't it? Dilma? Is it Dilma tea?
Dilma, Ceylon. Yes, they have amazing tea plantations. Gorgeous.
This is explore the internet is redeeming yourself. Are the people that are going to IPL think BBL? You know what? IPL kills it. BBL has been really boring this year. Super boring. Oh, something was really wrong with the whole. I mean, okay.
The biggest turnoff is Australia star players. They have the test series going on when the BBL is on as well. So if your star players are not playing and then you only have two overseas players slot in a team, then how can you actually attract more viewers?
But the stupid thing is, the so-called scouts in India look at the BBL as something pretty good. And they go, oh, look, Meredith Bowell, let's get him. Wrong. Richardson played well. Wrong. Dawa Millar actually played really well, but he's not even getting selected. They've gone strange with that one.
Wow. That's interesting. You can't do that, right? You can't judge a player and how they played in some other league in some other country.
No, Mozon Reeks is one player, and Dan Christian are two players that are more important than just their play on the field. And they've been selected for IPL for that reason. That's a great move. But they don't necessarily always perform. They're in winning sides. Like Mozon Reeks, I see him almost every day when he's here because he literally lives around the corner. And he's a great guy. He has been undervalued by Australian cricket over a number of years. He's played a handful of games. At a state level, he's killed it. He's played well for years for the state team. He's an amazing player and a great guy too.
Do you think he's past his prime?
No, actually, domestically, he absolutely had another great season. He bats second drop. He's someone who's past his prime. No, I don't think so. He's still very, very good. He's not unlike an AB de Villiers in terms of being good towards the end of his career.
But whatever opportunities he has got in IPL, he has never really made the most of it.
Yeah, true. But I only judge by what I see and what I know personally. And he pound for pound, he's right up there. Really is. You should see when he bats well. Oh my God, he could be.
Well, we can just we can hope that we can wish the number of chances Mitch Marsh used to get. If they would have given it to Moses, then he would have been a much better player.
Exactly. We have politics in our selections. Don't worry. Mm-hmm. We have to have a token to Western Australians, and that's always been the case. We always have to put a Western Australian contingent of the team. Quite frankly, Mitchell Marsh has been bloody ordinary. He never reached the heights he should have. His brother Sean did well, but also didn't reach his heights. And I've got them in their defence, though. They've come from a cricketing family. Their dad, for God's sake, played for Australia. It's quite a special situation. Not many father-sons play for their country.
Nice.
But, yeah, Mitchell Marshall, I'm more damning of Shane Watson, to be honest.
I think Moses Henriques is kind of like Brad Hodge, kind of unlucky players. I mean, they are domestic giants, but never really got that much opportunities regularly in Australian colours.
Absolutely. Brad Hodge was a complete misnomer. I mean, he scored a double
David Hussey for that reason. Even he didn't really play that much for Australia as his brother did.
although Mike Hussey's a much better player.
Yeah, that's for sure. But David Hussey, in his own right, was not that bad.
No, he wasn't. And he's coaching what team? He's in the coaching. I've seen him on. I remember seeing him.
Coaching the other. Forget.
I'm not sure because I keep seeing him in the dugouts.
David Hussey, he's with the. I think, if I'm not wrong, KKR.
I think so. Okay, we'll finish with this discussion. Who are the standout coaches in the league? The top three. Go. Someone.
Can you come again?
Stephen Fleming.
Who are the top three coaches this year? Let's be more specific to this year.
In IPL.
No, in Brownie's coaching.
I thought you were asking about BBL because we were talking about it just a while.
Well, that's why the BBL, I wouldn't even care two hoots about that.
Ricky Ponting.
Yeah, I would say Ricky Ponting, absolutely.
I say Stephen Fleming.
He's been around for a while now.
He's got a good team. He's got a good team and a great captain.
That's more Donny than Fleming this year.
You're right.
Ricky Ponting for sure.
Yes.
Simon Kadich with with RCB.
No, he's the assistant. Mike Hessen is the main coach.
No, that's not. Mike Hessen is the director of fluff. The coach, the head coach is actually Simon Kadich.
Are you sure? Can you Google it right now?
Google it. No, I've seen him interviewed, and he's the head coach. Really? Mike Hessen is the director of cricket, or whatever it's called. There's a term for it.
The director of fluff.
But Mike Hessen certainly helped bring Jamison to the team, but the actual day-to-day head coaching is Simon Kadich.
And I think Simon Kadich is also he's also going to be one of the coaches in the 100.
Yeah, he's quality. I tell you, he's an incredible leader. He's an amazingly intelligent man, underutilized under pressure.
He had a tiff with Michael Clark, isn't it?
I've had that explained to me. I was in the SCG dressing room with a lunch, and Mike Hussey was our guest, and Mike Hussey witnessed the whole thing. It was actually Mike Hussey claims it to be his fault. We're sitting in that actual room where it happened, and he went through and positioned us all and went through it blow by blow exactly what happened. Mike Hussey told us that he was partying and reveling with the South African players too much. Mike Hussey was meant to be the one to play the team song at that stage and had forgotten, and the end of the session had gone on, and Michael Clark was getting more and more upset because his girlfriend then, whatever her name was, there was a girlfriend he had who was a real sleazy type, forgotten her name. Anyway, she was getting uppity because she wanted to leave, and Michael Clark felt under pressure. He wanted to leave.
Lara Bingle.
Exactly. So Lara Bingle's out there getting uppity about not going. Mike Hussey has forgotten about playing the song. Then Michael Clark says, I'm going. My girlfriend's out there. She wants to go. No one's doing the song. I'm going. And then Simon Kadich stepped in and said, no, you can't go. It's tradition to do that. And Michael Clark says, stuff you, I'm not listening to you. And Simon Kadich was insistent about it, being very, very much a traditionalist. Then Mike Hussey walks in and sees what unfolded, where they pushed each other and carried on. And that's what happened. And Michael Clark still left. And it was for him to have become, the Australian captain on the basis of something like that was pretty bad, because it became a real thing, this tradition of playing the team song with every team member. For a team member to leave that because he had to wait for his girlfriend to do something is where the joke really was. And Simon Kadich is the most relaxed, fairest person you've ever met. Doesn't get angry under any circumstances. But that day, Michael Hussey said he was beside himself. So Michael Clark really ticked him off.
Yeah. She wasn't good for him. She was not good for him.
She was poisonous. She was absolutely poisonous.
He's very smart. He dumped her and he married a very nice lady.
Who he's divorced from too, by the way.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. He seems like such a sweet guy. Such a sweetheart,
He's with another girl. He's with another girl now. So
Oh,
anyway, all right. Yes, that was it was amazing to be able to sit there and play out that situation out with Michael Hussey, who was actually there. If you ask Simon Kaddish about it, he says nothing, which is very commendable. Doesn't get involved in any discussion. And Michael Clark says, go and ask Simon Kaddish, which is hilarious. In other words, he's implying that it's Simon Kaddish's fault, which is not true. Okay, all right.
Okay, do you think tomorrow DC can drop Stoinis for Norkia?
mm.
Well, Stoinis has been very disappointing, certainly. He's more interested in what coffees he gets ready before the match. He does his social. He's a nice bloke, but he's enjoying himself too much. I mean, I don't know how you guys would react, but if you're getting paid millions, which these guys are, they're all getting paid millions.
They're very privileged, I must say. Even within everything that's going on, they are so privileged to do what they're doing and get paid what they're getting paid. But that's the free market for you.
Yep,
People are willing to pay them big bucks.
It seems like if you just got to dye your hair blonde and be tall, and you'll find some stats about your bowling and you get selected. No, I'm joking. But Keshav, do you really? What do you think about the privileges they get in terms of this whole conversation about getting flown back to Australia as a priority? Do they deserve that?
See, Zampa would still have got all his salary even with pulling out, because RCB said that in the statement. They said we respect the decision they took. Same with AJ Tai or Richardson. So that is privilege in itself. I mean, you didn't play so far or didn't really contribute, and yet you get to go home, be in your comfortable, safer environment with your families, and still getting paid for that amount of money. If that's not privilege, what is?
Yeah.
It's. I mean, oh.
And for all you know, Zampa might not get picked again in IPL after what he did.
I hope so. Karma.
Well, he has to.
I mean, Kane Richardson didn't speak out, but why did Zampa had to?
On top of all this, having off-color comments is not a good look.
Yeah, it's quite brattish, very much a brat. Well, Cricket Australia, despite this not being in a Cricket Australia tournament, if they've got contracts out on these players, they need to pull Warner into the room again and say, right, mate, you've gone through that Sandgate crap. Don't you start this up again now. And they should be really tough on these guys. And Steve Smith should not be captain of Australia again. I'm thinking more and more about it. I don't think
today I heard a podcast Justin Langer was on, and he actually hinted that if at all we'll have to look for the captaincy options instead of Tim Payne for Ashes, Pat Cummins could be one option.
But that Justin Langer said that.
Yeah.
I mean, hence why he paid his $50,000 to make himself look good.
Oh.
And you know what he said after that? He compared. I think he was joking, but even as a joke, he compared Pat Cummins to Imran Khan as a fast bowler captain, and then later on becoming the prime minister of your country.
Yeah, if you get $50,000 and make sure everybody sees you.
He's getting some of that $50,000.
If that's not political, I don't know what is.
But do you think Norman that
Steve is going to be here with his bitcoins next?
But do you think, Norman, this year they can actually retain the Ashes?
Severe doubts. Severe doubts. The England makeup is phenomenal. They've got a great squad, and I've got severe doubts. Australia's going to be so underdone this year with cricket. They've got virtually no more forms of long version cricket coming up. They may play West Indies. They've got the World Cup, which won't help. They're going to go into the Ashes series very raw. Whereas England are going to have played against India, against I think Pakistan. I think
New Zealand.
Sorry?
No. Against New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
And
India
Pakistan just plays the white ball, yeah.
Okay, so India, New Zealand, They've just played against India. They've had 3 or 4 series under the belt. Australia's not played South Africa. They're not playing. I think they were meant to play someone else, Zimbabwe or someone that's been cancelled, and then they were meant to play.
I think they have to play one-off test against Afghanistan before the Ashes.
Yeah, but that's going to be, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be fairly light on. And England have got the squad to beat Australia, in particular with Anderson and Broad still floating around. And, well, hopefully Jofra Archer's fit.
Okay, Norman, if you were to make an 11 for the first Ashes game, what would your 11 be right now for Australia?
Bukowski would be my opener, even though he didn't get a contract. I'd have to say Warner. You'd have to say Warner. You'd have Steve Smith in there, Labuschagne. Then it gets interesting because Head, he's gone. Those players are gone. I'm going to Curtis Patterson, who's a New South Wales player, who's.
But didn't he have 100 for Australia opening?
Yeah, I'm not talking about batting order necessarily, but
against Sri Lanka.
Yeah, Curtis Patterson should be in there. He captained New South Wales recently. I mean, I'm going to say Jason Sanger, but that's me, being the former
Cam Green.
Cam
Green.
Yeah. Then obviously, keeping wise, well, Payne at this stage will stay in, and he will maintain the captaincy because they're not going to give it to anyone else at this point. Then the bowling is just the same as what we've heard. Cummins, Hazel, Stark, line. And Patterson floating around in the background there. That's pretty much what I would say. It's fairly regulation team, really. Only that
I think that number 5 is the only slot which is actually going to be interesting. Yeah, other than that, if Tim Payne is not the captain, then they could look at other options like who's there? Alex Carey, maybe.
You know, Alex Carey. I don't want to knock him, but he's not as good as they're making out. To be honest with you, he hasn't really come on with it in the last couple of years.
Who are the other keepers in domestic who are doing well?
Oh, there's quite a few actually. There's quite a few.
Josh Phillippe?
Yeah, he's there and thereabouts. There's a guy in WA. The names they've gone from my head, but there's a WA keeper. Actually, virtually every state's got a very young keeper that's floating around. So you could see one of those get in there, to be honest with you. But that's not yet. It'll be a season or so away. Alex Carey is apparently the player in the short form would be the one to pick, but I don't think he's going to play for the country as a keeper at this point.
And now, if we have to pick England 11, that's I think even more interesting than Australia.
Oh my God, they got truckloads of players. Yeah. I mean, again, even Alex Hales is in the mix. Josh Butler, Bairstow. I mean, Crawley. Zach Crawley was fantastic. He'll excel in Australia. Who's the left-hander? The opening bat. Burns. Yeah. They're all going to be in the mix. And you've got obviously Root, and you've got Stokes.
Oh, Oli Pope.
Sorry?
Pope.
Yes, as well. Then you've got a whole litany of bowlers from Mark Wood right through to Archer to Ollie Pope. What's his name? Ollie Stone.
Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, they've got, and then of course, the obvious two, as in Broad and Anderson. They've got a huge.
I am not sure if they'll be playing Anderson and Broad in all games together, something what they did in India as well.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference this time will be in Australia, you may find them doing it more often because I think we're coming to the end of their careers officially. And James Anderson won't finish in Australia, but he'll probably finish next season in England. Will be his last series.
So do you think they can play all 4 together? Broad, Anderson, Wood, and Archer, all 4?
Why not? Why not?
Maybe the ping ball game.
Why not? And that would smash Australia if those 4 bowled.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think this is going to be? Do you think this is going to be like the 2010-11 Ashes where Tremlett and all those guys actually? Stephen Finn, if I'm not wrong, he was on that tour. So these guys did well.
I mean, Kevin Peterson's saying that, and I think he's right. I think that they're well. Silverwoods, they're well coached as well. They've got everything firing. I mean, it's still a fair way away.
Yeah.
But it's not injury free. And Woke's there as well. And they're going to give us a smacking because I actually think our Australian bowling contingent, even though it's picking itself, are also frail at the moment. Stark in particular.
And who should be English spinner, the front line? Leach or Bess or Moeen?
Well, Mo and Ali will be on the tour, so will Leach and Bess.
Yeah.
You pick between those three.
Leach is better.
Leach is probably the one that will be,
Yeah.
but Mo and Ali's there as well. They've got. I don't think they're going to need spinners as much. Maybe Sydney they may, but even Sydney's becoming a lot more of a batting place as well. I really think because they're not going to change Tim Payne. They're going to be very stubborn. Justin Langer and Tim Payne are not going to move, even though Steve Smith wants to. And I tell you what, that's causing dissension.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Norman, if I'm not wrong, after the Ashes, they also have to travel to India for Border Gavaskar Trophy.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
they're going to be in for a pretty heavy little lot.
They're in for a hammering, the poor Aussie side. This is not their best form at all. They must be dreading all these competitions.
And they haven't got players coming through to join the side. Only really Bukowski, but he's had his issues. They've got no one coming through to challenge those batting spots. Matthew Wade's gone, Head's gone. They've got a real gap. Curtis Patterson is the logical person to put in there because he was in there before anyway. And I would argue, the other person who I would like to see in there is Gwaja.
Mm-hmm.
He is quality. Joe Burns, never again. Oh, what a racist face. Absolute racist face. I mean, the Test series, he scored a 50 in the match where they scored 36, but he did nothing. He's got out to some horrific shots.
So, do you think even Travis Head is not going to be back?
No.
Are they done with him?
Yep, definitely. He's just lost his contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big sign. He won't be getting back in the side. He won't be a vice captain. He won't be a captain. That's all gone. But, the person who can tell us all about this is Adam Hollioake, having been the Queensland batting coach and also been involved in Cricket Australia, basically. And Adam Hollioake's a great judge. He can tell you what's going on. But,
so, if we compare the batting stocks in Australian domestic circuit, and then we compare the spin bowling stocks, which one do you think is actually more difficult to find right now? Because I don't see anyone after Nathan Lyon who will be Australian Test spinner.
I would argue at the moment we're down on both counts. Our batting stocks are pretty low as well, and it's been noted by the recent Sheffield Shield. New South Wales imploded again, and New South Wales are always the benchmark for the Australian side.
Mm-hmm.
And if they play badly, the Australian side is playing badly. And that's what the situation is. Spinners, well, Shrepson got a stress fracture of his upper back. And in fact, Adam Hollioake told us about that. How do you get a stress fracture at bowling spin? Weird. I mean, that's a strange one. Yeah, they have got very poor stocks as well. Australian cricket is...
Even in T20 cricket, Norman, the kind of batsman, do you see anybody like a Maxwell in the coming stocks?
No.
Maybe Josh to an extent, but I mean, there's a serious scarcity of depth.
We're going to go through a very lean 5 to 10 years, Australia. Very lean.
I think the age of Australian dominance is behind us. There was a time when they were unbeatable, remember? And all those World Cups and everything.
Yeah.
There's a comment that says Australian players are a bit overrated compared to English players.
Absolutely. England
I like
are on the ascendancy. They would arguably be able to say that they're second in the world to India, for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Agreed.
South Africa, Australia, and played in New Zealand, still strong, pretty strong.
Yes, always.
West Indies remarkably strong. All right.
During the IPL, there's a test series starting as well, Pakistan versus Zimbabwe, if anyone is interested.
Who's going to watch that?
Well, now Bibi is playing an emerging South African team too.
because you know,
Since when?
do you know, Preeti, that Zimbabwe actually defeated Pakistan in a T20
I wouldn't be
recently?
surprised. They are. I mean,
So they won.
Pakistan is.
That was a 3-game series, and Pakistan won it 2-1. But since Zimbabwe actually defeated them, people actually started putting memes out that was Ashes 2.0. So their series is starting now, and you never know. Actually, you know, Pakistan might actually do a blunder there in Test as well.
I'm
But
sure.
Pakistan is still quality. Pakistan is still quality. That's a bit of a misnomer, I think. Pakistan is still quality. I mean, come on. They got like unearthed players. They could come out and win the World Cup, for God's sake. We just don't
I
know.
don't see
They're
that
capable of the
happening.
most strangest things.
No.
Yeah,
Although
I mean, if you don't know or if you don't remember, in 2013, Pakistan lost Test match to Zimbabwe, and that was a much better team. They were having Misbah, they were having Yunus Khan, and all these players playing
Yeah.
at that. And right now, they're a much younger team. And you know, Zimbabwe has got the services of Brendan Taylor back now. They have got, I think, Sean Williams as the captain. So you never know in their conditions.
But I
It's
think
all
with
about-
the quality of the Indian and English T20 teams, they don't stand a chance.
After the current, the recent Australia-India series, this Ashes comment's a very good one. I think India have reached a new peak and are going up, and Australia's going down. But it was a great series.
I
think
agree.
Yep. And this one, I'll answer it, Coley.
Oh, but no doubt. You know,
I mean,
I'm not even a fan of Kohli, and I'll still say he's better than Babar
Yeah.
Azam any day.
But Babar Azam's a good player, though. He deserves being up
Absolutely,
there.
that's fine. Absolutely, but
All right.
Not a good captain, but
Okay. He's going to say that Bubba's number one. Check it. He's got a point.
that's just stats. I mean,
they
ICC
change
rankings are
every
shown.
few months
And
the number one spot.
We discussed it the other day, isn't it, Norman? Like the ICC rankings, they do not factor in where the runs came, what quality
Yes.
of opposition it was. So
Someone
that's
needs to explain what the hell's there. Some algorithm. God knows what they're using.
Yeah, I mean, playing with Zimbabwe is very different from playing against England and winning, right?
yeah.
If your
Yeah,
runs
of
came
course.
from that, big difference.
Just think of it. Just think of it. Mujibur Rahman, I think, is the second player in ICC rankings. These guys just play associate nations, mostly
Yes.
international level. They have not played the top teams, and still he's second. So you can't really
That's
take
right.
these seriously.
The reality is that you've got you've got the whole situation with Milan. Now he's ranked highly in the ICC rankings, but not even getting a Guernsey. Now, what do we believe? Do we believe that he is that good a player? He is, by the way. But
Even this guy, the New Zealand batsman Devon Conway, he's just been new on the scene, new kid on the block, and he's already, I think, in the top 5 in T20s. He's played a handful of knocks.
How the hell does that work out? How's that possible?
Yeah, where's Faf? Where's Jadeja? Where is all these other wonderful
Well, they
players?
don't count anymore because they're not ICC accredited players. They've got no ICC contracts, so they're out now.
I want to know who actually decides the rankings and what kind of algorithm and how much he gets paid for it.
And what are they smoking?
Somebody's mother's given the job. She gets paid for it, probably. Well, it makes it a joke. If no one can explain to you how it works.
Look at the last comment by Explore the Internet.
Bubba versus Litton Das is a much better price. That's a bit nasty, but it's probably true.
Do you know who's Litton Das?
Of course, he plays Bangladesh.
Yeah, no, I was asking Preeti.
I feel sorry for Bangladesh because they really have got pound for pound a lot of potential, and they do have great players. I mean, what's it? The opening batter. What's his name again?
Tamim.
Iqbal. Tamim. He's great. He's about to reach 5,000 test runs. I think he's only a few off. Jamutha Kularatne is going close to 5,000 test runs. Actually, there's one Sri Lankan player that I would like to see in the IPL. That's Niroshan Dickweller. I love him.
And I would like to see Vanindu Hasaranga, the leg spinner.
So why are there no Sri Lankan players that are all being selected?
Because they're not enough quality. I mean, I think last year the only Sri Lankan was that guy in RCB. What was his name? Norman,
They're
the
full
left,
of yeah.
the left
They're
armer.
full of corruption, I'm afraid. Ewan Zoysa's just been given a 6-year ban. Did you see that? Sri Lankan players, Ewan Zoysa has just been given a 6-year ICC
Wow, it's a
anti-corruption
long
ban.
time.
6 years. No one's talking about it. There's a lot going on in Sri Lankan cricket regarding match fixing. A lot of corruption has gone on. Jayasuri was pulled in recently.
Yeah.
Not a
Oh
couple of
my
years ago.
God.
There's a lot.
It's sad to see the legends involved in this. You think all those years I loved them, I supported them, I adored them, and
Well, Heath Streak, obviously we've had him from Zimbabwe. We've had Hansi Cronje back in the day. Mark Waugh and Shane Warne got away with it.
interesting. Muhammad Azharuddin, the famous,
Yeah.
I mean, he was cleared, but yeah. And
A number of
Look,
Pakistani
and
players.
look what happened with Mohammad Amir. I mean, right now he can
Tragic.
actually play, but he has decided to, just be away from the current.
Yeah. Very sad. He was such a talent.
Yeah, and somebody has commented. So it was Isuru Udana the last year, the only Sri Lankan who played in RCB. Isuru Udana.
I wonder if there's been something, not just the quality of their play, whether they've been actually stopped.
Mm.
Because if there's not one single Sri Lankan player, that's a bit amazing, honestly.
And Norman, we can actually judge it by the fact that there are 2 Sri Lankan coaches in IPL, and
That's
even
right.
they are not picking. They are also not picking. They are not interested in. I think Jayawardene a couple of years back picked up Kushal Pereira, the keeper batsman. But other than that, they have not really themselves endorsed anybody. So you can actually see what kind of depth there is in Sri Lankan cricket.
Malinga is probably the last notable one, but if I'm being really honest with you, I think there's something more than meets the eye. I think they've actually been stopped. The fact that not one, that's a bit extreme, not one single player with a country that's 2 foot away. When you got Afghanis, Pakistanis, take that out. Bangladesh.
I mean, there was a player from Nepal, from God's sake. I mean, and there's no player.
Love it.
So, don't you think it's a bit strange? Because there are Sri Lankan players. Russian Dickwella could easily play.
Yeah.
Okay?
Agreed.
But Norman, I mean, he's a keeper batsman, right? So if you have to go for an overseas keeper batsman, would you go for rather Quinton de Kock or would you go for Aniroshan Dickwella? I mean, this is a very.
But if I'm being honest with you, the Russian Dickwella can produce. Don't worry. He's actually he's actually a person who can score a truckload of centuries. If you're getting, he can even play if he's not keeping. He's that good. Okay, so he was the captain of Trinity College, which was like basically a state level side. He scored the most runs. He has scored centuries. He's got quite a decent batting average for Test cricket. Hasn't scored a century, but I think he scored the most 50s without scoring a century. Anyway, he's quality. Don't worry. But I'm just saying,
this comment, BCCI will provide chartered flights to all overseas players. Is that true?
No.
Why should they, right? Is that their...
No,
but it's not even about chartered flights. We're not letting planes in. We don't care if they're pink, purple, chartered. It's not relevant. Yeah. You can't say, "Oh, that's a chartered plane. Let them in." No, they're given the same, isolation. There's no difference. So I think that's the mistake there. And if we do allow a plane with Australian cricketers back on there, over and above other people, well, where's the fairness in that?
What message does that send to the country? Yeah.
Especially if somebody who went to see their family for the last 12 months, why are they being prioritised? That's wrong.
So Norman, there's an answer for you. He's saying Sri Lankan team doesn't pick Dickwella, forget IPL franchise.
Okay. It's a nice answer.
There's something fishy going on. No, Ewan Zoysa got picked up
He was not a part of 2019 World Cup, isn't it? I mean, he was not picked in that squad, and all of a sudden, from nowhere, this guy Jeevan Mendes appears in the World Cup squad. I mean, how bizarre was that? He hadn't played for
Wow.
3-4 years for Sri Lanka, and
I
suddenly,
know G1 Mendes. I'm afraid
So-
I know all these guys personally.
was that a political signing in the World Cup?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Job for the boys.
Wow.
Sri Lanka is Rajapaksa, who's their leader.
Yes. Yes.
Oh God, where do I start with him?
When
The
was the last
brothers, right? This
Yeah.
change.
When was the last time you went to Sri Lanka, Norman?
2 years ago.
Wow.
No, less than 2 years ago. Year and a half ago.
And when are you going next?
As soon as the gates open. I mean, I have a mother to worry about here. That's my priority at the moment.
Oh.
So, but I mean, when things settle down with her, I mean, I'm going to hit India and Sri Lanka very, very quickly. For sure. I mean, I'm in daily conversations with all the, like Shapali contacts me every day.
Mm.
She's got her personal training business there. Good on her. She's a lovely girl. You've had a lot. All right, guys, let's finish up, huh?
Yeah.
Let's finish up. Mind my words, Tanishka Gunaka is a future shot player. He is, but he's not giving a go here, I tell you. Oh, how Aussie players can cross to Nepal and board flights from there. They won't get into Australia. As if we're not going to know that they're doing that.
If Stoinis is on the plane, we know who Stoinis is. This is so funny. Unless the customs guy does not watch cricket at all.
unless they're wearing one of those blue PPE suits.
I love it. I love it.
Did you
So
see Kane
funny.
Williamson and David Warner wearing these blue PPE suits from head to toe? That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Really. I mean, sorry. Anyway, all right, guys. Let's finish up. So, thank you for your time.
So, what's your prediction for the 2 games tomorrow?
Well, we should do that. Okay, we'll finish with that.
What are they? Who's playing?
Okay.
So Mumbai versus Rajasthan and Delhi versus Kolkata.
Mumbai will
Okay.
win the first one, and I think DC will win the second.
Delhi Capitals definitely win, and I can't. Mumbai have to win.
They have to
If
win.
they don't win,
They've
if they
got
get beat
to
by
win.
Rajasthan Royals, that's
They
gonna
should
be-
win this. Easy,
But Norman,
easy win.
you know what? Last year, Rajasthan was the only team to beat Mumbai twice.
Interesting.
Yeah, Rajasthan Royals have beaten a few sides this year already that they
Yeah.
shouldn't have.
Just
But
2
they've
sides.
lost it. Well, that's still Rajasthan Royals have had some upset games this year.
Yeah.
They beat Delhi Capitals.
I agree. They had some tight games. Samson almost went the distance. So.
No, they're not going to. We know they're not going to do it. Okay, Mumbai Indians are going to win. Let's be honest.
Mumbai and DC. Okay.
Yeah, you'd expect those two. And that's
Keshav,
really
you
gonna-
think KKR is going to win that one?
Absolutely. For all my money.
Then we have a match. We have a playoff on our hands, for that 4th spot.
Yeah.
But it's only going to be that 4th spot. The top 3 are settled.
Agreed. I mean, yeah.
The top 3 are settled. The bottom 2, potentially 3 are settled.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Which
And
means we've got-
in the
we're
first
further
game also, I'll back the underdogs. So Rajasthan, because they actually had the spoon over Mumbai in the last couple of seasons. If you remember, there was this interesting match a couple of years back where Krishnappa Gautam actually won them a game from nowhere, and he actually shot to fame from there. I mean,
Okay.
he's also an interesting case. He got picked up for 9 crores for CSK, and I don't think he would get a game for the whole season.
He's very good though. How come he's not being played? There's no place for
Because
him.
there's no space. Yeah, because there's no space.
They have
The only-
an excellent squad that works very
Yeah.
well together.
I think
One
he was.
question, Keshav, Shardul Thakur, I have not been impressed with him so far. What are your thoughts? Keep him, try someone else?
See, you can look at Shardul in a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
What he did for India in the last couple of months in Australia, and
Yeah.
you can either look at that as a purple patch where he was doing well, and now he's back to his old self where he actually belongs. leaking a lot of runs. So it's an interesting case. I mean, I don't think Dhoni will drop him
No, he
because
won't.
because
He's loyal. He doesn't like
that is
change.
there. Plus, Shardul can also contribute with the bat down the order.
And fielding once in a while. Yeah.
No, I don't think he's that good a fielder. He's a bit
Okay, we're going to
overweight.
finish.
What about Raidu? I'm not crazy about his form either. However, he's a quality player. So.
But whatever chances he's got, I think his strike rate has been quite good this year.
Yes, agreed.
So there's been a clear mentality of everyone coming in not to waste deliveries and go for it. Even Dhoni, for that matter, in one of those innings, he scored, I think, 17 of 8 balls, something like that. So I think that way Raidu and Shardul should be keeping their places. But for Krishnappa Gautam, I think he probably was replacement for Moeen Ali, like for like. So if Moeen is unfit or unwell or something, then they can bring him there and swap another overseas player.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So here now, this is an important prediction, probably the most important prediction of the night. Who's going to win between the Namibia Eagles and the South African Legends?
The Eagles and who?
Namibia Eagles and the South Africa emerging players.
With a name like Namibia and Eagles, absolutely. What a great name.
I mean, but what are we? Why is that even on the stats? The South African emerging players.
Someone has a lot of time on their hands.
The South Africa haven't got any emerging players. They've all gone to other leagues.
They've got players coming out of retirement.
What do they call South African A or something? Emerging players. What does that mean? They're not quite there yet. Their bones haven't quite formed. Their children. Or what are they? Oh, I'm sorry. That's a stupid game. Who cares? Who gives a who? All right. Okay. We're going to go now because I want to be able to go and consider the other part of the day, which is 7 a.m. in the morning here. All right, guys. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot, Pretty. Thanks, Keshu. We must also thank. Who did we have before? Anybody else? No, we didn't. Okay. I thought we might have someone. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for your comments. This is Norman Koshnik saying namaste, goodbye, good morning, good afternoon.
Nice to meet you, Keshav. Namaste. To see you again.
All right, guys.
Same here.
Okay,
all
bye.
right, all
Stay
this.
hands.
Good night. Norman from Eyes on Cricket. Ciao, ciao.